Okay, we're live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to TFC Live, Season 3, Episode 35. Robin titled this one Bounty 13 and TLCs for everyone. I classed it as unlucky for some is Bounty 13 or Bounty 2.1. I'm not sure. Well, this is basically Season 2, first event. Anyway, evening, Robin. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, fine. No problem at all. We've got a few slides, so I think we'll get straight into it because there's quite a lot. You'll need your fangtooths for a start and your hunters, I think, this week. So let's have a look at some slides and see where we go. Okie dokie. So there we go. Title screen as mentioned. And that's the content pack for tonight. Jigged around a little bit just to try and make a little bit more sense of it. So FM comes first, obviously, but obviously we're going to talk about Bounty. That's the main theme for the week. And then there's a shed load of TLCs, which is why I sort of mentioned get your fangs out on your hunters. There are a couple of other ships that are required, and I put some little pictures in to give you a hand. And there's a bit of rebalancing and fixing and that sort of stuff. And I've done an admin corner. There's a few changes coming up, not just in the game, but will help you in the game if you take note. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to Robin.
Oh, okay. Bounty 13, or 2.1, as Mark has been calling it. An event where big players repeatedly smash little players to steal bounty to spend on PvP tech. So we don't have the official notes for this yet. The last communication that we heard was from the release notes last night, where it said there was no changes from the last bounty.
Yeah, so, in fact, we'll just do a live update, actually. So what did we say there? Players can protect... That's not so. Right, okay. So in there, I think what we'll just put in go is not so little. How's that?
Yep.
And that's because of that 80 cap. Okay, look at that. Live updating the slides as we go along. Didn't even know I could do that. So yeah, the 80 cap, as we know, that's come in for the last few days, or a couple of weeks, in fact. We haven't had the official notes yet because they're not on the website, but we're assuming that for the NTPs, it won't make a difference. But actually for bases, then obviously those people that you want to go and hit, you've got to just obviously look at those individuals that are 80 and above. Whether that means that in your base finder, you don't get to see the 80s, that would be the nice thing. So you have more targets to look at. That'll be to be discussed at the weekend. Anyway, so that's slide 1. Slide 2.
Yep. So, of course, it starts on Thursday the 30th, runs to September the 3rd. And for those of you that are not in the US, this weekend is Labor Day weekend. So people that normally are at work on Mondays probably won't be. So you will see a lot more activity Monday morning than you normally do. Couple things that we're making assumptions on based on what was said on the notes, that there is not going to be the flat value on the player bases, and that if they are following the last Bounty 12, there will not be defense fleets in the replica bases. And then we know, of course, as Mark just said, there is the base hit min level cap at 80. I did vaguely remember reading something on the forum last night that the cap was not supposed to be applied to the NPC bases, but I've not heard anything official, and I'm trying to remember and couldn't find it before the show. So hopefully not, because that'll make it a lot easier for people getting points.
If somebody in chat's seen that as well, just let us know in the live chat then. That'd be cool. I know it's Ford's in there as well, doing a bit of mod hyping. How you doing?
Yeah, that was like 3 martinis ago, so pretty sure it said that they were not going to apply. So somebody had said a mod had posted it. But anyway, so that's kind of what we know as of now. As per normal, if we want to move on, we've got bounty drips. We're expecting the 800 granted every 6 hours as per normal. Securing bounty on demand. They said they're not changing it, so we're expecting to see that. We'll see the 5 charges and then going on down based on how long you play. Just remember that those charges start on the day that you start. So if you start halfway through, your first day will have the 5 charges. So if you start late, you're still going to get those extra charges.
You basically discount the end ones. That's how it works, yeah.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. So I think they're leaving it in as is because they want to see the impact of the level 80 hit down reduction, and then they'll see if they need to adjust bounty accordingly afterwards. So this is could or could not be the last of this format. Don't know. We'll see.
Yes, and, you know, and that is a good point, because I was thinking about it last night with all the changes, but it does make sense to see with the cap what changes are going to be, or what changes they will see in participation that they'll see based on that change before they make, you know, any huge changes. So, okay. Of course, we've got the replica bases that labeled your opponent on the world map, copies of real player bases that participated in the last bounty. So that being said, they are live copies. So if you played in last bounty, your base will be included. But for those of you that have got the new turrets in, those are going to show up in the opponent's bases. And of course, throughout bounty, they make live copies of bases as well. So if people have added in those new turrets, you are going to see those in those targets. Dock auto repair, of course, is still in play. So if you get hit, there is no staying logged off to hold on to your bounty. Your dock will repair and your base can be hit as soon as your bubble falls down.
Watch those timers, everybody. It's good fun.
Yep.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, making the assumption that the Nexuses are staying the same. There's usually 5 per world. They drip 25 bounty every hour. And then there are 2 bonuses. First one should be on the 30th at 10 a.m., starting on the 30th through until the 31st at 3 p.m. Remember, there is only a short claim window for that. So if you can't make that, you need to send in a ticket. And then the second one, of course, will be starting on Friday at 5 and then until the season ends. If you're going to change alliances prior to bounty, you need to do that before the season begins. So if you're planning on joining an alliance so that you can play with the mega ships, then you need to do that before it starts.
Yeah, very definitely. And just before it starts as well, think about doing expeditions and that sort of stuff, because they're good things to start getting your extra bonuses for uranium and that sort of stuff. You know, although there's a TLC out there at the moment, but if you want to protect your OP, then obviously you've got to stack up on uranium, and it's not the easiest thing to get for some people these days. So.
Yep.
Ooh. Right, I'll apologise straight away for some of the pictures, all right, because they're not actually out, so we've had to grab them from the ones that have not actually come in the game, but they sort of are in the game, if you know what I mean.
You know, I look at this and I see a boatload of math. And, you know, it's funny, a little side note here, a little bit of trivia. Speaking of math, you know, we complain about how bad the math is in the game. Well, today there's a lady by the name of Miss Catherine Johnson who turns 100 today. It's her birthday. She used to do the trajectories for the Apollo missions on paper.
So she's worse than Brian.
Can you imagine trying to do that on paper and then the ramifications of that not working? So just a little bit of math trivia there.
It's something to live up to, Kicks. Come on.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. Yeah, I'm 100 years old. Okay, so this is the Revenant.
Yes. So this obviously is the concussive one. Okay, and it's got a heap load of concussive damage. You can go and play with it obviously in the shipbuild design area and notice what it's weak at and what it's very strong at as well. Obviously the weapon that goes with it, which is obviously the Havoc Gatling gun there, has a nice range and that sort of stuff, and it gives you extra, not that you really need it, but it gives you the extra ballistic, okay, then you know, bypass and that sort of stuff, bypass protection. So if you think you need it and that sort of stuff, I think everybody probably understands that it's MC plate 3, 2 MC plate 2s, and then 2 U6s, and that gets you all your plating that you can. I think some people are probably expecting the FM to have new plate. I didn't think it was coming, and it's not. So we have got what we've got, which means that you've got to dance around now with this series. This is the last one of the ships in this series. We're not going to just talk about a stack of maths at the moment, because that's the sort of stuff we look at once things have been out for a couple of days. But in general terms, this thing, you won't be able to go all concussive Gatling guns, because that would be really, really foolish, because it will die in certain areas. So you're going to have to think about your weapon stacks and how you're going to stack them. Specials, I've played with a couple of builds already, and, you know, it's going to be a fairly strong hull, definitely. But, you know, you can't just go and build a stack of these things. Those days are gone. You really have to use these in a very set way, especially when we look to what else is coming in a second. But yeah, Gatling gun's good. It's got good range as expected, and I think you can get this thing up to some crazy like 2 million damage or something like that. You know, but you know, as
and Hefe mentioned on the page earlier, and Kyle just did in chat. There's no limitation on what hulls the Havoc can go on.
It was interesting, that, isn't it? But then they wouldn't do, would they? Because although actually, I mean, it is interesting. It doesn't actually say, for a change, it doesn't actually say Conqueror, does it?
No.
Whereas everything else there says it is. So unless that's a typo, they made a mistake and all of a sudden they changed that. Because this, you can imagine putting on a certain skirmisher. You know, it's heavy mind. But it's not that heavy.
Well, just on your Harlux Tides Seeker.
And the amount of damage that you're going to get is just nuts. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, because it normally has a pass through. Yeah, see, ballistic pass through there. See, that's not good, is it? Ballistic pass through 360. It's not that helpful when you're thinking about PvE ships. So I don't know whether they might change that and make it and restrict it, because it's about the only one that doesn't go on the other stuff. So
I think it's
an error.
Yeah, Hefe just posted in chat that Laredo said that it's a mistake.
Yeah, I think it's an error as well, because I think that would actually kill off a lot of the PvE holes if you put it on. Great for firepower, but you'd go to take some and all of a sudden then you'd be messed up pretty quick. So I would just, if Hefe's saying as well, so he's seen something from Laredo, so I would just consider this as, I mean, the reason we need it obviously is because it's the last one of the series, the 6, and it's the one that does the ballistic protection as well. Yeah, yes, we'll do that in a bit. I see Venom's in. Evening, Venom. I know it's your birthday, mate, so happy birthday to you. I know you've had some not so good news today as well, so a bit of a mixed day for you, mate. But new graphics card. He's very happy. I was watching him streaming earlier on Twitch, so it's going well for him. But that's a sideline. Yes, so other thing as well, the zip drive, which is interesting. So this zip drive on the far side here, concussive damage, bonus combat speed, 15%, like that, and the concussive reload. So when you start stacking all those things together, bear in mind that this is, by the way, the Gatling gun. It is a splash-based weapon, okay? So you'll need to try and up your splash as best you can as well. So, yeah, do some maths, like I said, at the weekend show, but we won't look at it now. But that's it. Reload is good. 300% reload already before you even start. So, and so you haven't even got about ranking and that sort of stuff. 18 stacks, reload decay time, 5 seconds. But bonus reload 300.
Not a bad speed boost either.
500, isn't it? Yeah. So you don't really have to worry about too much about HVR and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm wondering what it'll stack with if it'll stack with other specials that have speed boosts.
Just think, yeah. So just be cautious. Okay, whilst it says 98, which is obviously the base, the hull itself has got concussive range of 12% on top, so it gets it back up to mirroring the others, but obviously if you're using the maximum range of the other ones and put this weapon on, then it won't fire if you're staying at max range. It's just going to give you the deflection standards. So you'd have to go in and a blitz if you wanted this thing to kick off as well at the same time, fitting on another type of hull. So things to consider as ever.
Yep. So expectations, if they follow the pattern from the last bounties, this will be like 47,000 for 3 of them, is what they think they normally do.
That's what it was last time, wasn't it? If they stick the same, yeah, it'd be interesting. But build time's accurate, so that is the live build time. If you've got friends and that sort of stuff, and you're on Facebook, that's what you get. And I did a bluff build. I can't see the page now, but I did a bluff build, and it came out about 15 days, all up with everything, including all the armors and that sort of stuff. So yeah. Anyway. There we go. The last one of the series. So that's that. The next thing is the bit that concerns me mostly. We don't have these actually in the game yet, obviously, because they're limited. So we have the final 2 turrets, I believe, anyway. So first one obviously is obviously the I won't say it's a short range one, is it? Because the Cerberus basically 6, but that's obviously in the explosive category, and it completes that aura cap. Bear in mind we had 4 of the new mortars, and then we had 4 again recently in obviously the FM, and then I take it you're probably gonna be able to have 4 of these. Then that will give you your maximum damage range for direct damage cap of 200%. Then for the explosive, and this looks a bit of a beast, I have to say.
Yeah, no min range on this one either.
No, they generally don't on this one, do they? But 105, it's as per normal, isn't it? And that sort of stuff. You can up it. Obviously with ATR, but yeah, which you might have to, or you can put it in the mix of all your ships and then make a mess of people when they're trying to take out the middle of your base guard, that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's there. It rounds off the explosive peak quite nicely. I was wondering how they're going to do a mid-range, so they obviously haven't bothered. So they've just gone for the long and short. as opposed to the next one, which is obviously the radioactive one, and this one they've gone for a medium range, the 191. So yeah, that's that pyro turret 2. We've had the first one already. We've seen that as well. So this one has the other effect as well. So what are we talking about at the moment? Is it 24 turrets? So we can get 4 groups of 8 now, basically.
I think so. Yes.
So pick your groups of 8. Pick your groups of 8 carefully, because you know things like ballistics and that sort of stuff. You know, especially when they're coming with these obviously sort of hulls, ballistics you can mitigate quite easily, to be honest. Penetrate reasonably well. It's quite hard to mitigate against, you know, explosive, radioactive, and concussive sort of stuff. And then obviously, you know, you have to be very careful with the holes you build and the fleet you come in with and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's interesting. 191 is right up there, isn't it? It's not in the 300 range and that sort of stuff. It's, you know, because that's where some of the other stuff is. Or 287 is the normal stuff for long range, isn't it? So.
Yeah, this one will cover your channel, but not necessarily outside.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that that's long range. It's not long because it's, you know, it's 97 shorter, but it's certainly in a reasonable sort of overlapping sort of area. So yeah, but it'll finish it off quite nicely. Damage and obviously we'll look at all those sort of stats later on. But at least you know they're there.
Are you running into this where you're running at a base power?
Yes, definitely. We are starting to. You can tell you're getting to the end of a cycle because the base power is now starting to become a premium.
Yep.
And having to take armors off of certain turrets that I don't really think the armor would make a huge amount of difference until it's too late, if you know what I mean, sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, there we go. So that's the 2 turrets that finish it all off. But the point is, then you're now going to have to you've got to get all the and you know I should have actually just popped up one of the quick builds, but you need to get all your defenses up, you know. And I sort of understand now why MC Plate 3 came in, because, you know, having to have loads of MC Plate 2 and then MC Plate 1 and that sort of stuff, you know, you would never be able to put the DU6 on, and then you'd be in a right mess. At least with the MC Plate 3, you can add some of the, you know, the corrosive and the you know, the other resistances for concussive, etc. And things are a little bit better. So, I don't know.
Be interesting to see how many of these we can get.
Yeah, I'm guessing probably 4. A gut feeling that would sort of round it off nicely, wouldn't it? But yeah, we'll see. There's nothing else that's popped up in the background that you can collect. So I'm be surprised if it was 6 and 1 and only for 2 of these. So I'm guessing it's probably 4 and 4 at a rough idea. So anyway. That's it. So that's your bounty top prizes. Obviously there'll be lots of other stuff coming as well, but that's the hit. So we've got the ship, we've got the special, and obviously we've got the weapon, and that rounds off the series for the 6. And then obviously we've got these 2 turrets as well, which ends up the whole group. So stand by for the next OP upgrade, I say. Just for information then, Wayne, bless him, he's already updated, in case you noticed on our page, but he's already updated, obviously, his defense calculator. So if you want to work out what you need on your ships and that sort of stuff, or you want to see what your turrets can do, then obviously now he's put the two turrets in there as well for each of the categories, so radioactive and explosive. Play around with your specials and that sort of stuff. It does assume that you know what specials you're going to put on. Version 3, this is on 2.9, but when version 3 comes out, it'll be a little bit better because you'll get a pictorial version of it as well. But in the group now, you can actually have the 8 now with your fire supports, obviously, you know, which only work on some turrets in the corrosive area, but not all. But it's fine and explosive. So you can get some crazy figures. So explosive actually does come back in now quite nicely. Yeah.
I kind of like this because if you don't have the turret and you try to look at it in the game, if you haven't claimed it, and obviously you can't claim it until after bounty finishes, this will allow you to look at your numbers versus getting that stupid, what is it, you need a level 1 intelligence lab or something before you
that's been so frustrating, isn't it? You've got to own at least one of them and then you can start playing around them, but it's just, it grips me. So he's done this prior to bounties, so that's good.
Yeah, and as always, thank you, Wayne. I know a lot of people use this, so appreciate it, and props for getting it in there early.
Yeah, that's basically as soon as you saw it come out, it's the first thing you went and did, so that's good news. And it will help a lot of people. So, right, good. FM update. So we're in week 2. Bear in mind, we're only going to get 2 because obviously raid has been pulled forward early as well. So just think bounty, then poof, 2 days and splash into raid. And bear in mind, as you said, Labor Day as well. So, everything's going to be a little bit later next week. Probably the update will be the day later as well. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Well, it always is actually after bounty because the release of the prize pool, isn't it? That always takes a little while for things to kick in. So there won't be a bounty next week, basically. We're going to go straight from this a couple of days and then straight into the tech store raid. So that'll be interesting. But anyway, so we've got one for this week at least, which is something. 2 new items are coming out. I've sort of made up the pictures because they're not really out yet. But the explosive resistor, we'll talk about if you're not sure. Basically, it's an engine with the capability of resisting damage on it as well. And obviously the skirmish battery, which is hidden away in the back of your, you can select it, but obviously we don't own the blueprint yet because bounty doesn't, FM doesn't refresh till tomorrow. But there we go. Let's have a little look. So forget the picture. Okay, but that is the resistors. Now, based on the other 5, okay, and I looked at all the other 5 resistors and R15, the stats are the same. So yes, this is a made-up picture, okay? I'll tell you that now. All right, so forget the color of the picture, but that's basically, I assume, what it's going to say. Explosive resistor, a Forsaken technology, improving the increase in combat maneuverability, because you can obviously R15 it, whilst providing defense for explosive, whether it's projectiles or whatever it wants to call itself, I don't really know. Okay, and it will give you explosive defense of 15%, evade bonus 15%. It should give you, and those are the standard turn speeds of all the others. So all the other ones give you the corresponding defense stats and evade bursts, and the weight's all the same at 15%, and the tiers are all the same at 4.5. Sorry, the weight.
This was the last one we were waiting on, right?
This is the very last one in the series. Yeah. So the other 5 are done. So this is the very last one. So this I can see a couple of areas that this would be quite decent for. I chuck this on my Skyfires and Phoenixes and those sort of things. There are some areas that this would do very nicely. Anywhere that's basically, Tides and there's all sorts of different areas. Anywhere you put a.
Well, what about for like icebreakers for the FM?
Yeah, another thing as well. But some people have gone for the other engine. That obviously, there are other different engines as well out for icebreakers specifically. So Garrison's got its own little cluster within a cluster sort of stuff. But for the generic stuff, there isn't anything else, and it's never had one of these resistor ones that does the explosive. So this is the last one that we have to worry about, and I'm glad it's come in. I was hoping it's going to come in before, to be honest, but which it didn't. It would have been quite nice for the previous raid set, but. It's here now anyway. So yeah, I'm just thinking, cheese balls, that sort of stuff, if you want to put them on those. But obviously we're going into, they're doing it now. Obviously we're going into, the skirmish, and we know that the blinking mortars that come in, that sort of stuff, they're explosive, and they make a mess of you as well if you aren't careful, because obviously we've got concussive and explosive there. So there are various ideas, and just think outside the box. I'm not saying this is where you put them, but there are other areas that you can. It's nice to have that. But, when you put on things like steelheads and that sort of stuff, there are a load of areas where you can look after yourself a little bit better. So it just depends. It's the last one anyway. So the statistics are there. It's not going to be blue. I'm sure it'll probably be freaking orange or something or rather. I don't really know. But those should be the stats, to be honest, because all the rest of the stats are absolutely identical. So we will say, yeah, RFX engine. Yeah, as Robin's just said there. That's let him just let him go with that. So play a bit, see what you think. Anyway,
yep.
Right. Yeah, and then there's this thing. There's no picture, obviously, but I managed to get a copy of the print stats. So this one obviously is for skirmish, and interesting, it's cloak. So is that a hint of something to come? So
yeah, that is interesting.
Adds cloak, which I was surprised about, because this is the first one of the batteries that adds something other, something extra, and this one adds cloak time, which I thought was interesting.
So this battery though has cloak time. It does not have turret defense.
Yeah, which is odd.
Well, skirmish is usually just ships, but
yeah. So this is
pointing that out to people so they don't get all excited and think, oh, I can go ahead and throw this on, this, and Comper or something else and subs, and then realize that oops.
The class is skirmish only.
Yep.
So it's skirmisher only and that sort of stuff. Explosive damage, concussive damage, fantastic. Splash damage reduction, which is always good. And the cloak time's there. No good for Fangtooth, obviously relevant. But yeah, so we're going to stick this thing on. Some pretty old subs. But yeah, anyway, it's there. So please, yeah, but I think we had enough subs, especially after this week when we talk about TLCs in a minute. But yeah, anyway. So that's it. So that's all we've got, really. I mean, I'm sure there might be some other stuff in there, but those are the two things that obviously they discussed, and we've sort of like what I sort of made up, but based off the statistics of the ones. And this one here was obviously what I found in the game, but obviously you can't look at the picture yet because it's not out. And that's it. Right, TLCs. Oh gosh, should we start? Right, there's 5 TLCs.
If you didn't have enough to do this week with Bounty.
I suppose, you don't have to do them all. And then I suppose the nice thing, if you want to go and get your OP done, then obviously you can go and nip and do this one, and it saves you going out try and get loads more, from an SSRB and that sort of stuff. So it sort of would help you a little bit. So I've given obviously the name of each slide, which is Robin did the slides for us anyway, but the name of each slide there, and I've added the boat that it suggests that, just so you got pictorial representation. So there you go, hunters and that sort of stuff they suggest. And there are only 2 rounds this here, so it's this the 75 and the 316 is the 2 prizes that you can get. And I know when the splash screen comes up and you log in the game, it says you can get base parts and it says you can get titanium and that sort of stuff. Well, that's not according to TLC, so I've actually flagged it up and asked them to look at that splash screen. Whether they do or not, I don't really know. But
maybe there's going to be different versions in the future.
Maybe there are in the future, but I'd be surprised if you end up using hunters again for I can understand why hunters would get you, uranium, but I can't imagine hunters going and getting you sort of like titanium, because you'd expect that to be a assault type ship, wouldn't you? So,
yep.
But anyway, so there we go. Please note then that obviously the rogue crews do not help you, so don't go out adding cutthroats and that sort of stuff, and you can't overstack as well. So make sure you're virtually empty and look at the quantity that you've got, what your max cap is, obviously for your uranium, and then go and do it, unless you don't mind losing a little bit. But so that's that one there. So that's the heavy metal meltdown. It's a newish, it's a new campaign, isn't it? So,
yep.
Hydras
Hollow.
Go on. You like these ones?
Yeah, this one is Fangs and Hunters. This one starts, it started today actually, and finishes Monday as well. This is where you can get the Hydra Siege Cruiser and then all the toys to go with. We do have a campaign for co-op campaign for the Buccaneer, but if you don't have either the Buccaneer or the Hydra, this one will work better for you in base parts than the Buccaneer one will for map targets. So if you don't have the Hydra and you can do this one with Fangs or the Hunters, go ahead and do this one, because the Hydras work much better on the new map targets. But prize pack 1 gives you the hull, and then the CIC. Prize pack 2 gives you the multiplex doubler, the Siege, Mercy CIC, and the Aegis CIC. And then prize pack 3 gives you the flag and tokens. And then prize pack 4 is tokens and VXP.
Yeah, so I've just been asked in chat then, recommended slides. Like I said, the pictures at the top underneath the name of the title gives you the flag, the type of ships you're supposed to use. Be careful on this one, okay? Because I know people got caught out on one of the previous ones that looked like this, and basically you've got to know your targets. Because you might take in your fangtooths and all of a sudden actually it's the hunter one. So just notice what it says before you go into that particular target, because a lot of people could get part of the way through and then they got absolutely nailed.
Yeah, and we do have videos on this on the page, so maybe afterwards I'll snag those and bump those to the top. But there are videos that show the targets.
Yeah, Derpy's very good at doing videos on these sort of TLCs, and Ren does a few as well. So. Yep. But yeah, they're there. So this one, it says, fangtooths, and obviously the, I don't like the other ship, to be honest, but there we go. I've never used one. I've built them. I've just left them parked. I always use the fangtooths. But this is when you're talking about the co-op one, which I noticed on some of the page said they went straight into the first target there, and they got sunk because they used their icebreakers.
Yeah, this is the one where the first is Skirmish. Which is
so it's assault skirmish and then siege. Yeah. So Cutfish put it on the page, so that's why I put his little picture in there. So Cut's already answered somebody's question because they died. But this is a good thing, no matter where you're on the world, and this is ideal for world chat. If someone really is struggling, that sort of stuff, then someone could just go and give them assistance and go, yeah, I'll do number 1 for you, and somebody else can do number 2, and somebody else can do number 3. So as long as that person goes in and starts it and sits in a corner, then you can actually do it for them, basically.
Yep, and you get a lot of sectors did this, where it was like a conveyor belt. You know, someone was running around doing all the prize pack 1s, someone was doing the prize pack 2s and the prize pack 3s. So
yeah, and it's a good one, but you know, because Buckies are okay. They're getting. I have to say, talking about things like that, base parts. Another thing that hints to you that OP is probably due to be updated. The base parts have just been on constantly, haven't they? For the last few days, I've never seen them. Normally, they go through a cycle, and now all of a sudden they just seem to be on. And those Blitz ones have been very, very helpful. So this ship does very well in the. Is it 68? I think it is the Blitzer one.
Yep.
I think it is, yeah. This ship particularly does very, very well. So I know it's not the highest level, but it's still 90, you know, and it doesn't take very long. You fix on the sea, and then you just keep going, and you know, it doesn't take long to max out. So another good one for the BP app. So, but yeah, so find a buddy, that sort of stuff, or someone's not really doing a great deal, especially if they're about to log off the night and that sort of stuff. I'm sure they won't mind giving you a hand. Or a couple of people do. I know a couple of people in our sector were like, one person was doing various people's assault, and another person was doing various people's skirmish and that sort of stuff. So, you know,
yep.
People out there to help you, I'm sure. This one is better than you think, okay? Simply because think of the cycle we're going into next, and what I like in this one in Prize Pack 2, quite a rare thing to get hold of these days, is hydraulic resistors. So this is obviously the Turn the Tides. It obviously gives you the Tide Seeker, gives you the Proto Tide Seeker, sorry. And whether you do or don't want to build them based off what everyone was saying last week about the issue with the Proto series, etc. But, you know, you can get the Garbled Gatling Gun 2, which is nice. But, you know, you're getting some good stuff in these prize packs. So 5 hydraulic resistors.
Advanced concussive payload.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lovely special. And then 5 Gale 3s as well. You know, that's a nice thing to get in one off like that. So, and then obviously agility, you know, the agility 4 at the bottom for 5 as well. So there is some good stuff in here. Even if you don't intend to build the Proto series and that sort of stuff, there's some goodies in there to have that are worth holding on to, because, you know, limited prizes these are. Those are, you know, I mean, there's a 1 Gale 3 a week, I think it is, isn't it, in the FM? That's it. Which is 600k or something like that, isn't it? Or something like that.
300k.
300k, is it? Yeah. So there's just one, isn't there?
I think it's 300.
Oh, there's a Gale 2 and there's a Gale 3. Anyway, it is what it is. But there's only 1 a week and that sort of stuff, where he can get 5 straight away. So that's pretty decent. I quite like my Prototype Seekers, I must admit. I've got them and that sort of stuff. But I don't use them as much as probably I should. But, you know, I'm just thinking hydraulic resistors. They give you protection, you know, against obviously, and we're going into that next raid set, and it's you know, it's skirmish and that sort of stuff, and then those are the engines for that. So yeah, or potentially not, I don't know, but they are the right damage protection type. So
yeah, they have the concussive protection. It's 15%, I think it is.
Yes, yeah, it is. Yeah,
yeah.
So it's good. Anyway, so there we go. Turn the Tide. So if you like it, do it. If not, leave it alone. But I'll at least get to number 2, 3 if you can. Turrets of Terror. Not many people liked this one last time, but it wasn't horrendous. The only thing is, I think it's now a bit of a waste of time. Unless you think otherwise. Glacial Turret, meh. The only thing I'd get out of this is the fuel tank and the sulfide deploy if I hadn't already got it. I don't think the rest of it is that interesting, to be honest. Would you want to build epic cat mortars now when there's no, you know, boost on them for the explosive type because it's an old mortar?
No, not if you're high level, but you know, maybe newer players or lower levels. Still an opportunity to get them something.
Yeah, I mean, you can build them, yes, of course, because you only get 3 10-day build tokens. They just do take forever, and they're annoys. You know, the Adder Strike, which, yeah, may as well just spit hot air these days, I think, to be honest. But I suppose if you're going to crack around with this, it does say icebreakers. You know, yes, I put the Harlock picture at the top, but sorry, that the flagship, yeah, flagship, the Saga's one at the top there. But you know, but some people did get free sets of them. So you know, if you haven't logged on for a while and you're a low level and you happen to pick them up, then you can race through this. And if you are under that group 80 and you haven't got any of the others, then I suppose you can blast through this. It wasn't a hard one to do. And I know a lot of people were dragging around, you know, old mort chuckers and then a couple of zealots and that sort of stuff as well. So it is doable in various different guises. Any thoughts, Robin?
No, that was It's a pretty easy one to do. I think Dragons, did really well in them as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah. But I mean, I wasn't
They were
expecting
like
to have
instant,
dragons.
instant fix. So even if you don't have a full dragon fleet, I think one of my guys last time did it with I want to say 3 of them.
Yeah, I did
And
3 dragons and a couple of zealous's, and I didn't take any damage. I don't think, but
yeah,
you know.
did very well.
But I don't know why I did it. Oh, well, I know that was that pyro rockets thing. You know, the thing that spits a million shot out and did very little damage. But you know,
Yep.
anyway, it's there to do. Again, another one. And if you do want to put some stuff on there, the nice thing in Price Pack 3 is the generic structured build tokens. So if you are doing anything else, and 4 as well. So
Yeah, just watch
you
your
can't the stack, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, just watch your totals with the structure tokens. Use what you have first before you put these in, because they won't overfill for this.
Yeah, because there's one obviously in the FM, and then obviously you're going to get there's 4 more there, so 5 in one day. So that helps with something if you're going to do an upgrade or something like that. But clearly you can't overstack. So anyway, Turrets of Terror, and that's it. That's all 5 of them. We're through those, which was not overly exciting, I have to say. Bug fixes and balances and changes. So left the headers on this time. Do you want to grab these?
Yeah. First one for PvP: cannot select a player if they have a guard fleet set. With the changes that they made with the, I guess, the heads-up display with the fleet management system, if somebody had a guard fleet on the outside of their base, you couldn't click their base.
I think
So
Rainer flashed that one, didn't she? Was it Rainer flashed that
so
one?
that obviously had to be fixed before Bounty, or there would be a lot of cranky pirates. So that's been taken care of, which is a good thing. Speaking of fleet management, fleets were getting stuck in the docking phase when returning to base prior to fleet completing docking. And then somebody posted the other day on the page, when your fleet is on the map and it dies, and let's say it's 1 coin to fix it. If you fix the fleet and then you recall it, it still has that yellow glowing instant repair, cost me a coin to fix. So just be careful and pay attention to that. I think they are addressing it, but it's something that you want to be aware of. And then traps, defending fleets now attack from behind the traps, so that's another good thing.
Weren't. That keeps turning on and off, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what's tripping it, but yeah, it's like the gluts with the Scourge trap. You know, 1 bounty is fine, and then the next it's screwy. So hopefully that's been taken care of. And then campaigns already owned prizes in uncompleted campaign runs were displaying placeholder text. So that's just a graphic design visual thing that's been taken care of. Also on campaigns, when a campaign was activated, the abort button did not consistently update correctly. So if you picked the wrong one, sometimes it didn't go away. And then Forsaken R&D, all manufacturing items of research. So that's been taken care of. And then the ever-present, always popular, minor bug fixes and performance improvements.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's just like I'd rather just didn't put that line in. If I don't know, we put it in. The other little thing is, by the way, as everyone's saying in chat, I'm not ignoring you. Okay, and what the hell's happened with the latest update? Because all those people that were on mobile apps, and there's certain things you can't do on the BP app, and they can only do it via mobile. Puffin has stopped working, and so is the other one. What's the other one called?
Photon. It's an Apple issue, based on what somebody had posted. Whatever updates Kix did with the change for the fleet management, it now no longer works for folks that are using Puffin on their iPads or on their phones, and then Photon as well. Kix has said that they can't provide third-party support.
No.
Or support for third-party things, and people are, well, and if you think about it, that actually makes sense. You know, Kix builds their program, it works for their system, and this happens everywhere. Other places may not necessarily play nice with new changes, and so this is one of those situations where right now players are unable to play using Puffin. Android supposedly works, although I think it was Luke that brought up a couple of things on Samsung phones, I think 6 and lower, that were causing some issues. So I know this is a bug for players, and there are actually players that can't play because they don't have a PC.
It's particularly on Bounty, yeah, because it's one of those things you need to be doing basically all the time, and a lot of people like to do it while they're away and that sort of stuff. Unlike, when you want to put on a Grease Monkey crew and do your hour and a half smashing the raid and then go, right, I put it down. Bounty doesn't sort of work that way, does it? It's very opportunist, and you need to grab the moment and get what you can sort of stuff and lock things away. So, and it's one of those really good ones where you don't have to be that good a driver, especially doing the NCPs and that sort of stuff. You just need to be on, which you can't do on the app. So it's really annoying quite a lot of people, and more than I thought, actually. But, it's a third, like you said, it's a third-party app, and what can we do? We can't push them on it. We can only suggest, and there's been plenty on forums as well. So.
Yeah, and it's not, and again, Kix builds their site the way that they do it, and they make changes the way that they do it, and unfortunately, sometimes that breaks other things that are out there. I don't know if there's some kind of other site that's out there or some kind of emulator, whether people could use like an emulator on their phones. I don't know, but right now it's causing some angst for players.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a bit like, and it's mentioned in chat as well. How about the app for people that play it via Kixeye and the other platforms? Because obviously they can't use the app at all. So there's a big percentage, not a big percentage, but there is a definite percentage of people that have never used Facebook and that sort of stuff and don't want to never joined the game on Facebook, and you can't reverse manage it. Unfortunately, can't be reverse engineered. So. It has to have started on Facebook. Even if you bring it across into Facebook and start again, unfortunately, it's a different game. So it's not the best solution for everybody. I suppose they're going for bulk, aren't they? Because it did start on Facebook first. But yeah. Anyway, so that's it on those slides. What else we got then? So just a little admin corner. I was hoping Ren would be on, but it doesn't really matter because we can all cover it anyway. And just a couple of admin points, really, to close with, and then we can open up for a bit of chat. So the first thing you probably noticed, or may not have noticed anyway, but there's a huge Chrome update coming on the 4th of September, which is going to have some pretty goddamn frustrating, annoying implications for us. And I've seen a video, and Ren's put that's come from our page, basically. So if you don't really know how to do the updates and allow, obviously, Flash onto Chrome and the other browsers, then that link takes you to it and explains to you how to do it. What I would suggest on your browser bar at the top, when you get to the all bar the last click, is just save that up top on your desktop browser, and then you've got to just click the one button. It will take you to the right place in your browser. I've done that already, so that will save a few of the steps. But basically, if you go and refresh your the browser, where you do the Control Shift and then delete, you then have to go and reset this again, which is pretty freaking annoying.
Yeah, and this is the first. I mean, Chrome is pretty quick, and I don't know if I use cutting edge, but cutting edge, they're the folks that usually come out with stuff earlier. I would look to see a lot more of this coming out for Mozilla and a lot of the other browsers, Firefox as well.
Torch and all that sort of stuff.
Torch and all that. Opera, definitely. Well, Opera's part of Chrome. Gosh, Chrome's got like 7 or 8 of them now. But, everybody knows that Flash is eventually going to go away in 2020. And a lot of the browsers are working towards that. And so this is actually a good thing, although it's going to be a pain in the ass thing. They're building in the security so that in the future, when the support finishes for Adobe and they no longer bring that up, then all of this stuff is already in place. So it's not going to kill the game. It's not going to stop you from playing the game. You just need to take the extra step to allow that sometimes, depending on what browser you're using and when.
Yeah, and as it says in the chat, can you do this now? You can do it now, but the problem is the new versions come out in the 4th. So when it updates its new browser, you'll probably find the settings and get refreshed because it's just like doing the clear cache thing.
And I've been burned by this before. I never update straight away. I always give it a week before I run the update, even though the little message pops up and says, do you want to update? Just let it work its kinks out. I know it's been on Canary, I think there's been some beta testing going on the Canary side that I was looking at and some other places, but I always just wait a little while and then do it a week later and let them fix all the bugs first.
Yeah, and the link at the bottom there, and you can have a look on the forums because it's up right on the front end of obviously the general discussions there. There is a step-by-step guide there, so you can download the pictures if you want to. But obviously this link there, it's like a video. It just shows you exactly how to do it as well. So there are various different options, but you've got no choice. You've got to do it. It's as simple as that. So I don't know if any other browsers, like you said, the problem is the Chrome, obviously, and Google get the things into everything, and it maps over to various other browsers because they basically have the rights to all of them. So, or a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. So, yeah, it's happening other ones anyway. So you just got to go with it. I've seen Ren's actually made a video of his own. I think he has, or maybe he just did a link to his own page. I'm not really sure, but
no, that is his video.
it's his, is it?
Yeah, it's on the page, and so yeah, go ahead and search it.
Yeah, I saw it on his YouTube channel anyway. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's on the page, and we'll leave it up there, and we'll put it on the TFC website as well, and that sort of stuff. But unfortunately, it's just one of those things we've got to do. So that's that. What else? Oh yeah, okay. So I just thought it'd be poignant, just to pause for a second, and just a public. I've put it on the page for the last few days as well. Had a bit of a chat, and I know Wayne has as well with Huggy. And whilst his page is still running, and it is, and it's still reasonably good for things like manticores and that sort of stuff, it's probably not going to be updated anymore. So all the new sort of stuff, particularly the PvP stuff, there's a lot of stuff already missing. Busy man, that sort of stuff, and for personal reasons, he won't be basically updating that page. Sorry, the shipbuilder anymore. So whilst you can communicate on the page, then asking for builds and that sort of stuff, you won't get the traditional stuff where you can copy and paste obviously the game codes into his shipbuilder and vice versa, and then it'll just map across. You'll get blanks, or as we got today, the first one that obviously for this new hull copied it across, and all you got was a gunboat, which I thought was funny. But ultimately, he has helped an awful lot of people for many, many years. He stopped playing some considerable time ago himself, and yet he still kept updating and updating and updating. But at the end of the day, everything comes to an end. And unfortunately for us, Kixeye acknowledged the fact that, and called the shipyard for the PvP after him, called it the Huggies Yard and that sort of stuff. And, in sort of recognition that all the work he's done outside, he was a normal player. And he provided a fantastic service for all of us. There are still many things that Kixeye don't produce stats-wise that his website did. But yeah, frustrating, but it's gone. We all feel the frustration, but don't sound off at him, all right then, because he was doing it basically for us. And unfortunately, those days are now over. So, the very fact that there's 300 and nearly 60 or 70 comments on our page and thanks and that sort of stuff, and not one of them is negative, is just shows sort of like what he's left us with, and that's only good memories, to be honest. And I have to say, it's as an alliance leader, that has been invaluable to me personally.
Yeah, I used to call it the site that could not be named because I hated it when I first started playing. And I used to go make my husband, and he's like, go to the site that cannot be named, until I finally learned how to use it. And then I actually made a video about how to use it because it was so tricky for me. But yeah, he stopped a long time ago. And like you said, just because he's a nice bloke, he kept doing it, and very appreciative of it. And Dave, thank you for all of your help off on the side, and even for all of the background stuff with testing and all of that kind of stuff. So thank you so very much. And there's a Ren.
Hey, Ren.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, got you, mate. You okay?
Okay. I just said initially that, yeah, Huggy did a great job, and his website will be missed, especially for all the combined fleet stats that Kixeye today doesn't give you, as you have to look at one ship at a time.
You've really got to know your stuff to be able to do it manually. I know there's one woman that can, because she's celebrating her 100th birthday today, but I couldn't do it. I can see it as a single ship, but when you start adding those together, and then you start putting flagships in front of them for the PvE stuff as well, and then thinking the implications of that flagship basis, it starts blowing your mind. It starts blowing your mind. But anyway, end of an era, really is, but which is a real shame. But I'm sure we'll all manage to struggle on, but I don't think it'll be as easy as it has been. We start getting special flagships. Anyway, to that effect, Ren, we covered the just previously quickly. We covered the one about the flash upgrade and mentioned about the video you've done as well. So I know you've posted it on our page as well. So I'm sure we're going to get loads of questions on the 4th. Loads and loads.
Yeah, I got it there now, and I don't know. What I don't know is if you do it now and then you apply the new upcoming Chrome update, will it undo? Because I know by default Chrome now will start disabling Flash to every website except the sites on that list. And I know out of the box on that list, they only have like Facebook and 1 or 2 more sites that are widely used globally.
Yeah, Cuttlefish said obviously you can go and do it now, but whether, as you said, it's what happens on the 4th, you know.
Yeah, so I'm fully expecting on the 4th, when my Chrome updates, that it will be blocked, and then I'm going to have to go and do it again. So I thought I'm going to get ahead of the curve and have the video there, especially because I saw the forum thread on KickSci, and I think they missed the fact that most players use Windows and not Macs. So there's step 1, the way you get to the page, they have a picture of how you do it on Mac, and it's entirely different on Windows. So that alone will get people lost. So I started with step 1 being, this is how you get there on Windows. And then step 1B is, this is how you get there on Mac. Once you're there on that page, it's identical in any platform.
Yeah, I mean, I've told my Chrome not to update itself, and I'll do it a couple of days later, as Robin was just saying as well. Because I don't really want to goof up my stuff, and then all of a sudden it's not compatible with BP and I can't do the raid. So I'll do it after the raid's finished.
Yeah, I even sent the link of the video to CM Chris, and I said, hey, maybe you want to add that link to your thread there. I don't know if he's going to do it, but
Logic says I'd like you. It'd be good if he did, because like I say, I don't know anybody apart from my brother who just trying to be Flash has got a Mac here, so you know, everyone else is Windows based. Anyway, right. So that was that. Yeah, that was the Huggies thing. So you know, the Huggies is you know, it's been good and that sort of stuff. But I have had a couple of people saying, well, if I can't use Huggies, what do I do then? And I thought people were all in the know and that sort of stuff. And I'm sure, I can't remember if Ren had done a video or not, but I just did a quick slide basically, which we can put out on the page, of, you know, how to get from, you know, ship to text, i.e. in a post when someone's posting that strange code, you know, and then how to get from that text back into a ship. So I've got it in 2 blocks there. So basically when you go into Ship Builder, and this is the green block at the top, you click the share button, and then you just literally, so you've got your ship, you've made it and that sort of stuff, and you go, is this a good build or isn't it a good build? You can put a picture up, but it's much better to put the code in, because then people can just drop it into theirs as well, and then suggest other ideas, copy it to clipboard, and then you can post it into your post. You don't have to put a picture in then. You can just say, can someone have a look at this? Am I on the right track? That would do. And the reverse contact, if there's one on there that you really like, then you can go into your ship builder itself, you can click share, and then take the text out. And you just got to do the back arrow to get rid of the text. And then go onto the page that you found the code, and then just copy the text off of it, and then paste it straight into that box in the build code area there. And then you just click the load button, which is C. And then it will give you it then in D itself. Okay, so then that's the whole cycle, and I think Ren's just sent a video link in.
I have a video showing that since March. I've had that video since March.
I thought you did. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, things. That's the kind of thing. I have a playlist for that kind of esoteric stuff in game. It's a playlist called BP Explainers.
Right. Okay.
That's the one that has the Flash video. It has this one, how to copy and paste in game builds, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Or how ship defense works, deflection plus resistance.
Oh, it's in that one, is it? Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
It's all in there, that BP Explainers playlist.
Okie dokie. Anyway, it's on one slide here, but obviously it needs to understand a little bit of common knowledge of the game already. So that's why I've done in 2 different colors, from basically ship to text, and then going from text back into a ship itself. So look, it's not as near as, or as downward anywhere near as good as Huggies was and that sort of stuff, you know. But in the day, it's all we've got now at the moment. There is no other options as it stands as of right this moment. So
there's one problem though, okay, that I found, because in one instance, the code I put on my video, that code you see on the top right, right? I copied that from one of my ships, and that ship happened to have a skin.
Oh yes, yes.
So if the player copies that code and they try to paste that in game, it fails.
They don't have the skin.
They don't have the skin. It doesn't even let them paste and load. So now they can remove the skin. It simply fails.
Yeah.
So what I learned is, when you want to share a ship code, you got to make sure you're not using any skin, or it screws up the code.
I understand why you know, they don't allow links in chat, but oh my god, it would be so cool if you could paste that stuff in comms or in
And copy it straight out
in
again.
PM and then copy it straight out, because yeah, how many times have you seen, oh, has anybody got a good build for yada yada?
In a PM, yes, but not in world chat, but definitely in PMs. That'd be good if you could do it in a whisper chat and then send it to someone and they could just pick that up. That'd be excellent. Or just click on it and it took them to their builder and it's in there. That'd be even better. But I think that's a bit too much. But yeah, anyway, that is it slide wise. I'm done slides. Anybody got anything you want to cover for the last 5 minutes? We literally got a couple minutes to go. Ren, anything you want to pick up on, mate? I thought we might have, well, I don't know. We'll cover bounty, mate. We've gone for a best guess because obviously the bounty notes were out. Robin, they haven't come out again since we've been on for the hour, have they?
I'm just refreshing now.
Thank you. We're assuming that NTPs, we can all hit below 80, but we can't hit the bases below 80, real bases.
That's just an assumption at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so we put question mark on the slide. That would be the logical thing, because it'd be a bit crazy not being able to hit normal 9 to 5, and then when the real event is on, then how come all of a sudden you could hit below 80? That'd be nuts.
I don't know these guys now, but historically, the logical thing and the thing Kickside does are not often the same. Did you talk about the new turrets that showed up in games to disable the thrower?
Yes. I managed to pick up the background, you know, the statistics of them and that sort of stuff, and obviously noted that obviously Wayne's already picked them up and put them in the his turret calculator as well.
And now we're not getting that Intel Lab error when you try to build a turret you don't have it, but now you can actually mount it there and see what happens even if you don't have it.
Which is helpful, I suppose. Yeah, it is. It's getting there. It's getting there. I have to say though, people were scared stiff about the corrosive turrets. You know, they're going to be even more now with the, you know, the extra radioactive and then the extra concussive now. So it's going to scare a lot of people off, I think. So I think base hitting is going to take a bit of a lull, to say the least. So looking forward to Bounty 14 already, because I don't think there'll be much of base hitting by the time everybody's messed around with their ships and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
it's going to be difficult.
No, I think this bounty, maybe even the next bounty, will likely still be crap unless they get to fix everything wrong with PvP in a month, which I doubt it. I mean, it's not.
No, I don't see. Well, we'll see when that refactoring comes in, because as it stands at the moment, you know, and I think that's another reason people were expecting the new update in the DU series of armor, and it just isn't there, is it? So.
Hello, Boba Fett.
Yeah, he's in chat, isn't he? Yeah, seen him.
I'm not. That's why I'm saying it here.
All right. Right, we're good. Robin, anything to close off with?
No, nothing from me.
Good. Well, that just leaves us to say, enjoy the FM when it kicks in tomorrow, and enjoy as best you can the bounty. Like we say, you know, those mobile apps that allow you to play the game, obviously, whilst you're out on your iPhones and your tablets and that sort of stuff. Android, semi-decent. Everything else seems to be a no now. So frustrating as hell for some people, I do appreciate. But, you know, they've sort of not, it seems, going to be going down the avenue of making that work for anybody. So unless they have a change of heart, they have to think of something else. Bear in mind that you can't do half the stuff that you need to do to be successful in Bounty on the BP app itself. And even that, you've got to have joined Battle Pirates from Facebook. So there are still restrictions across various areas of the game. Anyway, we'll talk about it properly. Join us on Saturday when we'll be midway through Bounty, and then you can come on and let us know your thoughts. Just good night to Robin.
Good night.
And Ren. Good night, mate.
Hey, good night.
Okay, thanks all. Take care.